Do you like Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you like progression-like content? Do you like to watch people suffer? Then you've come to the right place. I, Thundernumel, invite you to join me in a little adventure called Yu-Gi-Oh! Depression Series. We will start by opening one virtual booster box of Legend of Blue Eyes and we'll make a deck that we will pit against ranked opponents on Dueling Book. Based on our performance every week, we will get a different amount of coins that we will be able to use to unlock new official Yu-Gi-Oh! Products in chronological order, or buy more of the products that we already unlocked. Let's suffer together by using unplayable garbage cards and try to climb the Dueling Book ladder. Hello everyone and welcome, my name is Thundernumel and I welcome you to my channel. Last week was pretty amazing because after 4 episodes we finally managed to open Metal Raiders. And we even accrued many points, so let's get into the point breakdown and see how many we have. In the previous episodes we managed to destroy 8 monsters, which equals 0 points. We also dealt 13,100 damage, which equals another 1 point, and we won whopping 3 games, which equals another 30 points. We carried over 21 points from the last episode, and I'm not gonna count likes for this one, so that equals total 52 points along with our free 20. That comes out to 72. Before we get into spending those, let's go into the Depression Wheel section. This opening was really nuts, guys. We pulled a Pot of Avarice, and I bet Pot of Greed will be really happy to hear about that. I'm also very excited about Orbital Hydrolander, and I'm thinking about making a deck around it. Since we have enough points to open 3 whole boxes of anything we want, well, LOB or MRD, I'm thinking we should open Metal Raiders and see if we can complete the Spell Ruler challenge. We just need to pull double foil of any spell cards from there. So let's open the first box of Metal Raiders. Wow, considering the fact that we didn't pull any foil spell cards, Metal Raiders is turning into LOB 2.0 at this point. But honestly, I'm fully committed, so let's open another one of these. Now that's what I'm talking about, we finally got lucky. We pulled a Tribute to the Doomed and a Heavy Storm, and that finally unlocks Magic Ruler. So a set review is in order. Spell Ruler, previously known as Magic Ruler, was released in 2002, and it was renamed to avoid similarities to Magic the Gathering. It was a set that introduced ritual spells, ritual monsters, quick play spells and toon monsters into the game. It's a set that has amazing spell cards such as Confiscation, Delinquent Duel, Forceful Century, Snatch Steal, Mystical Space Typhoon, Giant Runade, Painful Choice, and it has one of the craziest flip monsters ever, Cyberjar. And out of all of those cards I just listed, only MST isn't banned. It is a set that introduced Battle Floaters, Shining Angel, Mystic Tomato, Mother Grizzly, UFO Turtle, Flying Kamakiri No. 1, and Giant Rat. A notable monster introduced here was Mahawilo. It's a monster that gains 500 attack for every card equipped to it. It's a fantastic option to pair with your numerous equipped spells introduced in this set, such as Axe of Despair and Megamorph. Another interesting engine to take note of is Senju of the 10,000 Hands and Sonic Bird to pair up with your Relinquished, which used to be a formidable boss monster back in its day. Cards that we could utilize in the battle phase would be Rush Recklessly and Spellbinding Circle, and stall/stun cards introduced are Banisher of the Light and Messenger of Peace. Some of my personal favorite cards from this set are Giant Germ, Nimble Mamonga, and Spear Cretin. Oh, and it's also worth mentioning that Pot of Greed's half-brother Upstart Goblin and his pet Electric Snake are also introduced here.
Hello, it is Pot of Greed. What do you do? Nothing, I'm definitely not a Western spy. Today I'm here to talk to you about my Romanian half-brother Upstart Goblin. He gives half of what he earns to charity, so that's why he is allowed to stay in the TCG. People are not big fan of him in the OCG, I hear. And I don't know why. He literally does half of the work my pet snake does, and he pays you 1000 zengi to do it. Also, big shout out to country of Romania. It's a great country that I love very much. I'm definitely not being forced to read this out loud right now. I have been Pot of Greed. Goodbye.
Also guys, since we unlocked Magic Rulers, I should mention how we are gonna implement tins and tournament packs into the series. Some of you suggested that tins should be automatically unlocked by reaching them chronologically and that they will cost 12 points to buy. As for tournament packs, we will be awarded one tournament pack for each win since reaching that tournament pack in chronological order. By opening 5 of the current tournament packs, we will be allowed to progress further and unlock newer ones, but not before reaching them chronologically. So since we unlocked tournament pack number 1 after unlocking Metal Raiders and won 3 games, let us open our 3 tournament packs. While we're on the roll, let's open our box of Magic Rulers and see what deck we can make. Well guys, here we are with the deck profile, and for this episode I decided to play something that I'd like to play rather than the optimal strategy for winning. I decided to build a deck around Orbital Hydrolander that we pulled, and I mean, it's not the greatest idea, but it should be fun enough. So we are playing one Pankratops, one Guard Ghost, well basically Samurai Skull, Guard Ghost and Vandered Revenants combo. Skull should send one of these to set up the graveyard, and hopefully it could float into another one of these, so that would be 3 monsters with different names for Hydrolander. We are playing double Hain and a Man-Eater Bug for removal, double Magician of Faith, double Mystic Tomato to tutor out our Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest, which will allow us to go and search for a Hydrolander, and Sangan can search for the Witch. We are playing one Nightmare Penguin that I forgot about in the last episode. We are also playing triple Spear Kraken, because if we get 2 monsters with the same name in the graveyard, we can't be able to resolve the Hydrolander, so Spear Kraken is here to try and fix the graveyard. We are also playing double copies of Thunder Dragon. I decided not to play 3 copies, because if I have 2 in the graveyard I can't summon Hydrolander. And this is just here for deck thinning. One Wall of Illusion, one Card Destruction to set up the graveyard quickly. Concentrating Current as our battle trick, I guess. One Dark Hole, triple Fissure, one Malevolent Nuzzler that is searchable by Armory Call, one Monster Reborn, one Raigeki, one Rush Recklessly, Swords of Revealing Light, Tribute to the Doomed, Chitonian Blast, Head Judging, Trap Hole, Waboku, and another Upstart for deck thinning. This time around I opted to play an extra deck, because if our opponent sends our monsters to the graveyard, we could technically fill up the grave more quickly with different names. So we are playing these fusions for that reason and that reason alone. We still are not able to summon Thunder Dragon outside of our opponent activating Exchange and giving us a polymerization, but it's here. If we Monster Reborn, I don't know, a high level tuner, we could make a Vermilion max, so that's kinda there. Burner Visor and Reaper are still in here, but not very useful, to be honest. Goki the Great Ogre, which we cannot make, and Ib the World Chalice Priestess, which is here just in case we want to put 2 of our monsters into the graveyard. Okay guys, without further ado, let's get into the games. First game of the week is up against Invoked Dogmatica Shadow. It's an insanely grindy deck that we cannot probably hope to win against, but nonetheless we will try. So our opponent opens up with Ecclesia, uses the effect of Ecclesia to search a Fleur-de-Lis, then he will just pass the turn. We special summon the Pankratops and then activate Swords of Revealing Light, playing defensively. We'll attack into the Ecclesia with Pankratops, and then we will set the Nightmare Penguin and pass our turn. For turn he draws Nadir Servant, uses the effect of Nadir to search an Ecclesia and send an Antis from his extra deck to his graveyard, using the effect of Antis to pop our Pankratops. Then he will normal summon Ecclesia, using its effect to add a punishment. He will then banish the Antis and special summon the Maximus. Using the effect of Maximus, he will send 2 cards from each of our extra decks to the graveyard. He will send Titanic Lad and the App Cologne, and I will send Bikuri Box and Metal Dragon. We now have 3 different names in our graveyard for Orbital Hydrolander, so our strategy is working fine so far. So he will use the effect of App Cologne, adding a Squamata and discarding a Squamata, then using the effect of Squamata he will send a Beast to his graveyard and draw a card. He will proceed to set the punishment and pass the turn. We will flip up the Nightmare Penguin here, hoping to bait out his punishment by targeting it, but he just lets the Penguin resolve. So we normal summon the Samurai Skull, using its effect to pitch the Guard Ghost to the graveyard. Now at this point I was hoping to Link Summon into the Link 2 that we have and summon the Hydrolander, but then he could just summon the Fleur-de-Lis and negate its effect. So I opted to not do that and just beat over the Ecclesia with the Samurai Skull. Then I'll just pass the turn. He will use the effect of Shadow Fusion, Fusion Summoning into a construct by using Wendy and the Nibiru in his hand. Then he will use the effects of his monsters, setting Hedgehog, and he uses the wrong effect of construct here, but then he sends Shadow Schism from his deck to his graveyard. He will reset the punishment and pass the turn. I'm really trying to bait out the punishment at this point, but it's not going really great for us. So we'll just normal summon the Tomato, attack into the construct. He will not activate anything, so we'll just use the effect of Tomato, special summoning the Wall of Illusion from our deck. Then we will proceed to attack with Samurai Skull into the Hedgehog, and he will add the El Shadow Fusion. We'll switch the Penguin to defense and pass the turn. He passes as well, and for the turn we draw a Spear Kraken. At this point I just decide to YOLO and special summon the Hydrolander using the effect of Hydrolander, milling 3 cards, and since we still don't have 2 monsters with the same name in the graveyard, Hydrolander will still be alive. He chains Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis, special summoning it and negating the effect of Hydrolander. We proceed to battle phase, attacking into the Fleur-de-Lis, and he has no targets that are above 3000 attacks, so he cannot destroy Hydrolander with his punishment. We'll switch Wall of Illusion to defense and pass the turn. He will link summon with his construct into the Gravity Controller using the effect of construct. He will add a Schism to his hand, then he will normal summon Alistair adding the invocation, and then he will link summon into Almirage and then a Secure Gardener. Then using the invocation he will fusion summon into an Ogades, and using its effect he will send our Wall of Illusion to the graveyard. Then using the effect of invocation he will add back the Alistair to his hand. He will then banish a fusion monster from his graveyard to boost the attack of Ogades and declare an attack on Hydrolander. So on declaration we use the effect of Hydrolander, destroying it. He will, still in battle phase, use the effect of El Shadow Fusion. Fusion is summoning into another construct and banishing 3 cards from our graveyard. He will then go into the battle phase, and using the effect of construct he will destroy our Hydrolander. In the end phase we use the effect of Guard Ghost that can be added back to our hand if it's banished. And then we'll activate the Dark Hole, destroying all of the monsters on the field. He will use the effect of construct, adding back the El Shadow Fusion, and we'll just set a Sangen and pass. Playing around the Schism, then he will use the effect of Schism, fusion summoning into an Apkalone, normal summoning the Alistair. He will use the effect of Alistair to add the invocation to his hand, and he will use the invocation, fusion summoning with our Magician of Fate and his Alistair into the Mechaba. Then he will use the effect of invocation, adding back the Alistair. He will proceed to battle phase, attacking into our Sangen. We'll try to use the effect of Sangen, but he will negate it with Mechaba. Then he will attack us directly with Mechaba for 250. We just set a Magician of Fate at this point, hoping to do something, but he will normal summon the Alistair, go into another Mechaba, and even if we add back the Dark Hole that's in our graveyard, we still lose on board. So yep, it was a grindy game, we lasted as long as we did, but at this point, no cigar. Let's go to game 2. Our second game is up against Invoked Fusion deck. Well, it's the best way I can describe it. Anyways, this is a miraculous game and you'll see why in a minute. And after we ditched the Dark Magician to complete the challenge for Yugi starter deck. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we're gonna be going first. We'll use the effect of Thunder Dragon, pitching it to get another one to our hand, then we'll set a Hein and pass the turn. For a turn, our opponent activates Pot of Prosperity, banishing only 3 cards and excavating off of the top of his deck an Alistair the Invoker. Next, he will normal summon the Alistair at the invocation, then he will link into the Artemis. Using the invocation, he will banish our Thunder Dragon and his Alistair, summoning a Mechaba. Then he will return invocation to his deck, adding the Alistair back to his hand. He will then link summon into Verte Anaconda, using its effect sending the Red Eyes Fusion from his deck and special summoning a Dragoon. Then he will use the effect of Dragoon, destroying our Hein and attacking directly with all of his monsters. At this point, I don't see an actual way to summon a Hydrolander, so we're just trying to bait out a Dragoon negate with Samurai Skull, so we'll use the effect, hoping that he will negate and destroy so the Samurai Skull could float, but yeah, it's not happening. So the Samurai Skull sends the Guard Ghost, and then we'll activate Monster Reborn, targeting his Dark Magician. He doesn't negate it, so we have successfully summoned the Dark Magician, and then we just need to destroy the Verte. His set card is Conquistador, so that doesn't do anything for him, so we attack with the Dark Magician, destroying his Verte and dealing 2000 damage. So we successfully summon the Dark Magician and destroy the monster with it, which means that the tier 2 Yugi starter deck has been unlocked. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. So we just pass the turn, he activates Neos Fusion, special summoning into a Rainbow Neos, then he will use the effect of Dragoon, destroying Dark Magician. Next he will use the effect of Dragoon, destroying the Samurai Skull, will use the effect of Samurai Skull to try and special summon from the deck, he will negate that with the Dragoon and attack us directly. But yep, we unlocked another Yugi starter deck, so we can buy that and get another copy of Dark Hole and also some other very interesting cards. Let's go to game 3. Our next game is up against a very unusual Fluffle deck and we'll be going first. Looking at our hand, it doesn't look great, so we'll just use the effect of Thunder Dragon to add another one, then we'll activate the Upstart, drawing a card, and we draw into the Hydrolander, which is interesting, but we cannot really set up the graveyard at this point. I'll just set a Hein, set the Armory Call and pass the turn. For turn he draws a Toy Vendor, then using the effect of Toy Vendor he will discard, adding a Dolphin. And then he will use the effect of Dolphin, setting back the Toy Vendor and then sending the Wings to his graveyard. He will use the effect of Toy Vendor, discarding another monster, but he doesn't draw into a Fluffle, so he'll attack with the Dolphin and will use the effect of Hein, bouncing the Dolphin back. Then in the end phase we will use the effect of Armory Call, adding the Malevolent Nuzzler to deck it. For turn we draw a Dark Hole, which is a great reactive card but does nothing for us proactively, so we'll just set a Bluff back row and pass the turn. Our opponent's draw is into a 1/1, discarding a Dolphin, he will special summon the Octopus from his deck, then he will use the effect of Octopus to add back the Dolphin. Then he will normal summon said Dolphin and link into the Herald of Mirage Light. After that he will proceed to special summon Christia because he has 4 fairies in the graveyard. He will then, by the effect of Christia, add back the Fluffle Dolphin to his hand and attack us directly with all of his monsters. Now, at this point, I'm trying to destroy the Christia, so it goes back on top of his deck, and also make it so that he has more than 4 fairies in the graveyard. For turn, we draw into a Spear Kraken, and I decide to do it this way. I'll try to destroy the Christia with a Tribute to the Doomed. He will negate with the Herald of Mirage Light, making his fairy count in the graveyard 4, and then I'll activate the Dark Hole, destroying both of his monsters, and then Christia will go on top of his deck, and he'll have 5 fairies, so he won't be able to special summon it. So we discard the Thunder Dragon, he negates with the Herald, and then we activate the Dark Hole, but it is swiftly met by Solemn Judgment. So it's pretty sad at this point. We just set a Spear Kraken and he just pops off, drawing with Wings, drawing with the Toy Vendor, discarding the Bear to set another Toy Vendor, then summoning the Dog, adding the Wings, and then discarding the Wings to draw into another card. So we are just not gonna be able to even resolve the Spear Kraken because of the Christia. And we take a bunch of damage again. So for the turn we draw into Magician of Fate, and it's the same scenario as game 1. Even if we can add back the Dark Hole, it's too late because he has game on board. So he'll proceed to the battle phase, attack us with the Christia, we'll add back the Dark Hole, and the Dog will finish us off at this point. Oh Jesus, this is really getting depressing at this point. Oh well, at least I'm having fun with my Orbital Hydrolander deck, even though I can't resolve it. What can you do? Let's go to game 4! For game 4 we are up against our arch rival Fossil Dynastan, and I'm really hoping that we have grown powerful enough to defeat this deck finally. Our hand is decently good, but he opens up with the Fossil Dyna and sets Storming Mirror Force. I'll just set a Man-Eater Bug, Armory Call, and pass the turn. He'll activate Pot of Extravagance, drawing 2 cards, and then he will normal summon the Thunder King Ryo, attacking into our Man-Eater Bug. We'll use the effect of Man-Eater to destroy the Fossil Dyna, and for turn we'll summon a Mystic Tomato. Now in the battle phase I hoped that I could equip it with the Malevolent Nuzzler from our deck, but Armory Call has to add the equip spell to the hand first, and we can't do that due to the Thunder King YUGIOH. So we'll just declare the attack with Mystic Tomato and he'll activate Storming Mirror Force, bouncing it back to our hand. He'll draw Solemn Judgment for turn, normal summoning a Fossil Dyna and attacking us with both of his monsters. He'll just set the Judgment and pass the turn. For turn we draw into the Fissure, activating this, destroying the Dyna, and then normal summon the Mystic Tomato, but he'll use the effect of Judgment, negating the summon. Then he will proceed to attack us directly with the Thunder King, setting Border Impermanence and passing the turn. We'll just set the Spear Kraken and Chthonian Blast and pass the turn, and he'll flip summon into the Inspector Border and then normal summon the Grand Maju, attacking into the Kraken. We cannot use the effect of Kraken because of the Inspector Border, so that's kind of really unfortunate. He'll proceed to attack us directly. Before that we'll activate Chthonian Blast, destroying his Thunder King, so we just don't die on the spot. He'll proceed to attack us with the Inspector Border, and we are still alive at 50 life points. We'll try and add back the Malevolent Nuzzler from our deck to our hand, but we draw a Hedge Judging for turn, and with the only monster being Hain, we can't really hope to survive this. He'll go and attack with the Grand Maju and then attack with Inspector Border for game. I'll just activate Rush recklessly for style points. You know, I'm really waiting for a day when I'll be able to stomp the Inspector Border stun deck. Maybe I could have done it with Beatdown. Oh my god, this is so bad. Okay, let's go to game 5. Our final game of the week is up against Chaos, and we're gonna be going second. So, looking at our hand, it's pretty good. We have a Beater, we have Fissure, we have Pancratops, and we have Tomato and the Penguin. Our opponent isn't looking that great. He'll activate Allure of Darkness, we'll let it resolve, he'll draw 2 cards, then banish the Red Eyes, and then he will concede because he had no real plays. I mean, he could have, I guess, discarded the Thunder Dragon, banished it for Valk, then summoned the Valk, then I guess normal summon the Ash, and then go into Verte, but he's probably playing only 1 Red Eyes, so his Dragoon is dead. Well, I mean, at this point, I'm thinking that we could have won the game even if he didn't concede, if he continued to brick like this. Well, a win is a win, I'll take my 10 points. And guys, this is it for this week. I recorded the episode in advance because I'll be on vacation by the time this episode comes out. That's the reason I didn't use any like points for this one. Since we won 1 game and didn't spend any like points, I'm hoping that we'll have enough points to spend in the next episode. So before you go, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would also mean a lot if you could share this with your friends. See you in the next one, bye!